Shadow Binders is back in stock on shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. And now on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about how Disney is for everyone, except poor people.
Those with money.
Yeah, right.
Disney likes your money equally.
Disney is for everyone with fat stacks of cash to spend. We're going to talk about that because Insider put up this opinion piece. It is an opinion piece. Today, Disney's woke changes aren't ruining the parks. They're making them even more magical. Yeah, right? Magically expensive.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, I don't know. I don't think I have trouble with all of the choices. Some of them I'm like, I don't really care. But they keep saying on one hand that it's, it's to be more inclusive and diverse. But on the other hand, they're like doing everything they can to price out pretty much anyone that makes less than six figures a year.
Oh, I would even go higher than that. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking like, you want a really good vacation, you're going to be shelling out like 10 grand.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring up some stuff later on, this article that they're doing to try to keep the people that have money spending the money.
Yeah, keep Mickey's juices flowing, right?
Yeah, having privilege is bad unless, they're wanting you to come to their parks.
Yeah, that's what blows my mind about this whole conversation is, they're like, well, we want Disney's parks to be inclusive and welcoming. I'm like, then you lower your prices. You make sure that your own employees can afford to get into the gate. And that's not the case. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 206,000 subs.
Yay!
Thank you for the support. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Disney stock jump that's supposedly coming. And some other talks here we've said before about Disney being too expensive.
Also on the Insider, I want to point that out.
Also on the Insider, Disney's losing its magic. So we've got Disney losing its magic. Disney's too expensive, and now Disney's woke changes aren't ruining the parks.
Yeah, so basically the Insider takes whoever wants to write articles.
Whoever wants to write. So saw this today. It was actually trending on Disney Stories.
I see that picture and all I can think is glug glug glug.
Glug glug wine mom.
Glug glug.
Opinion. It is opinion, right? Disney parks bill themselves as a place where everyone can experience joy, wonder, and magic.
Everyone with money.
Recently, Disney has made changes to some attractions and guidelines to stay true to this statement.
Sentiment. But I don't know. It depends on who you ask.
Some feel the changes are too woke and ruin the magic, but they only help more people find it.
Only if they can afford to get there.
Yeah, right. To all that come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article, but I find it very ironic that they use a quote from Walt Disney, and 2 paragraphs in, they point out that Walt Disney was an anti-Semite, a racist, and a sexist.
Right, because that's the narrative, and they're trying. I mean, he did do some things that wouldn't fly today, but the company sure as hell wants to bank on him and his name until it's not convenient.
For now.
For now.
For now. I gotta wonder, we've been hearing rumblings, back channel, that, Disney might distance itself from Walt, and just become the Disney company or something.
Yeah, here's a newsflash for these people. Back in the 50s, it was a completely different place. The world was different then. I'm not saying what was right or wrong, but at the time, what was right or wrong is not what's right or wrong now. So
as time went on, they talked about how, opening Disneyland, as time went on, it became increasingly clear that not everybody could feel the magic when visiting a Disney park. Yeah, because it's too expensive.
Oh my God.
Thanks to racist characters and offensive show scenes in certain attractions.
So the white wine mom is going to tell you about racism.
Isn't this par for the course? I mean, isn't this usually how it goes?
Yep.
It's usually some white woman telling, minorities and LGBT folks how they should feel.
Also, I want to point out that the offensive scenes in the attractions have, like Jungle Cruise, for example, with the natives, were removed and replaced with chimpanzees.
Yes.
But that's okay. They were culturally sensitive to chimpanzees because they called, over to Animal Kingdom to make sure that they were representing them in a proper way. And I'm not kidding.
Yeah, that's a little weird, right? Then we have to bring up that Disney was an anti-Semite, a racist, and a sexist himself. But why are you supporting the Walt Disney Company if you really feel that way about Walt Disney? I think you're going to find the founders of many, many companies were probably, by current year standards, problematic. But yeah, I love this. When it comes to its image as a company, Disney has started to address its own issues and become more inclusive.
Yes, that's right. With their privilege test that they made people take mostly about if you're white privilege and money, and their own guests probably can't pass the privilege test for a lot of them. They also made sure that they're being more inclusive and fair by keeping the cast members, instead of giving them bonuses and things, they've got these positive statements they put out so that they feel better about working at the parks. They don't get more money. I was over on WW Magic. People that worked at the park said that instead of giving them bonuses or extra hours or benefits or whatever else they could do for them, they decided to come up with positivity statements about how you're involved in the magic, and that's supposed to make up for everything else. Yeah, you're laughing. But meanwhile, their CEOs can have multi-million-dollar bonuses. So Disney hasn't really addressed most of its issues and becoming more inclusive. If you really look into it, they want privilege when it benefits them.
Yeah, right. That's it. At the end of the day, they want privilege when it benefits them. Yeah, the most recent example of their progressiveness here at Disney. Is that a word? Progressiveness. Being progressive at Disney is that they got rid of ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and they replaced it with good evening, dreamers of all ages.
They didn't replace it. I think that was on there before, wasn't it?
I think they cut the
Didn't
beginning
they used to go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dreamers of all ages.
Yeah.
I think that's what they used to do. Now, honestly, I don't really care about that. I know they're she's trying to paint this big, broad brush that, if you don't like the changes because you're that. I don't really care about that. I mean, it's kind of dumb, but I'm just I expect it. I'm more why is Trader Sam taking out the ride, but now he somehow, according to the new attraction, is coming back in 15 minutes because he's now hawking stuff out of the lost and found. He's fencing out of lost and found.
Yeah, I love it when these companies try to signal. A lot of times they wind up doing more damage. So yeah, here we go. Back in April, the corporation announced that park employees will now be able to display gender-inclusive hairstyles, jewelry, nail styles, and costume choices, and visible tattoos.
Again, I have no problem with it as long as it's not distracting. Because the whole point is you go to Disney and you're in a certain type of uniform. You're supposed to be a certain type of experience. It's supposed to be reflect the outfits are reflective of whatever they're representing, the attraction, that store, whatever. As long as it's not really distracting, I really have no problem with it. Even though other businesses do have dress codes where you have to have your hair a certain length. I know my dad worked for the one airline. You had to be clean shaven. When we would fly, we had dress codes. We had to go by as the family flying on the airline. It wasn't just my dad who worked there. So that's not new to have dress codes.
Yeah, we have a dress code. You have to wear pants. Sometimes.
Well, I missed that dress code a few times. Anyway,
so she's talking about this opinion piece in the Orlando.
Oh my God, that's what it's about.
This is what this is about. Months after the fact.
I want my mouthpiece to have my opinion on an article that happened months ago. Glug glug.
This guy attacked Disney. How dare he? Chalked up to wokeness. He was basically saying as a almost lifetime Disney customer and someone who spends a lot of money at Disney, that maybe they're going a little too far.
Disney's probably letting their cast members have that freedom because then they don't ask for more money.
Yeah, right? We don't have to pay you more, but yeah, you can have a tattoo, sure. You just can't have a tattoo of a competing character.
I wonder about that. Do you have to cover that up if you have a tattoo that's a Harry Potter or something?
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. Shrek. Oh my God, you've got Shrek on your neck. Shrek neck. You got Shrek on your neck. Get the heck out of here. Responses like this miss a crucial element of Disney magic. Disney magic that was created by the racist, homophobe,
right,
anti-Semite. Yeah, it's meant to be accessible to everyone, not just you. If not everyone feels comfortable in the parks, that failing falls on Disney's shoulders, not the individuals. These changes will likely keep coming and Disney will likely keep evolving. That's a good thing, and folks who wring their hands over history and tradition should get used to it.
I just like, this is typical. Oh, and okay, I have comments. So they're going by the Disney's Pirate Red. Yeah, I'm a redhead and a woman. And no one asked me my opinion on this, Karen. And, get used to it because that's supposed to represent me. And my opinion matters now, right? I mean, honestly, I know you don't like Red the Pirate. I honestly don't care one way or the other. I mean, let's be honest here. If a redhead was there, she'd probably be kicking ass and taking names. That's just the way we operate.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
The dialogue. I don't like the dialogue.
The dialogue stuff. I just don't like the fact that they're changing things because they're trying to rewrite history. And what made me mad about it was the fact they tried to say that a bunch of people complained. I don't believe that. Later on, they contradicted themselves and said it was an internal group of people. I think it was pre-diversity and inclusion team. No one asked me my opinion. Bet you no one on that team was a redhead.
Oh, I know what they were thinking. They were thinking, hey, if we got to replace, because this happened about the same time that Johnny Depp was getting in hot water. If we got to replace Captain Jack, we need another lead.
That's exactly what it was about. It wasn't about inclusion.
No, it was about let's create a female pirate. So when we reboot Pirates without Johnny Depp, because he's problematic, we're just going to say, oh, this character's from the ride as of 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
So then she brings this up. You know what? If you're supposed to be like understanding because it's reflective of people that aren't like you. You're not a redhead.
There you go.
So why do you get to talk for me?
So they talked about the decision, said, well, some may see the bride auction as silly or harmless.
I think it's more historically accurate than anything.
Probably. It's much more impactful for a child to see that women aren't property to be bought and sold.
Or maybe it's a teachable moment where you can talk to your kid about what happened in the past and how we should do things to make sure it doesn't repeat itself, instead of just trying to erase it. I rode that ride many, many times growing up. I had red hair. I saw the scene. I never once thought, oh my God, I hope they change that, because they don't. I'm thinking I'm property that should be bought and sold. People aren't that stupid. Why do they keep acting like people are dumb?
Well, they want people to be dumb, so they spend ridiculous amounts of money at the parks. I love this. She said she hadn't even heard of...
Wait, she didn't know?
Song of the South until 10 years ago.
Okay, Karen. Where have you been? I thought you were a big Disney fan.
10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I was actually working on comics with Song of the South characters.
I don't understand how you don't know about Song of the South.
Because she's not really that big of a fan.
Well, that just proves it. If you're a Disney Parks fan, and you didn't know about Song of the South.
How could you? I mean, you rode Splash Mountain how many times? It never occurred to you that, like, gosh, these characters seem like they might have come from a cartoon, given that there's a little cartoon clip in there.
Right, and well, not just that. There was things like about the ride, like even the song that you go, like, where'd the song come from? Even on the music compilations, it would say, Song of the South or whatever. I'm like, I don't understand how you... Right, how do you not know? If you were such a big Parks fan, it sounds to me like somebody's just a convenient Parks fan when they want to pontificate and get attention. So what will get a lot of hits? I know.
I've always felt uncomfortable with it for the last 10 years.
I never heard of it, but I felt uncomfortable. For just 10 years. Before I loved it. It was fine.
So they talked about the Disney Parks blog post. Now this is where I'm gonna jump in here, because this has been rumored for years that they were going to retheme it. And in fact, I believe they designed The Princess and the Frog with Splash Mountain in mind, because it takes place in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Splash Mountain in Disneyland is next to New Orleans Square. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that you would have that New Orleans theme.
Right. This rumor has been going on probably longer than you've known about Song of the South. And then when you look at it, the art came out really fast. This art wouldn't have been done that quickly. No. This was not thrown together in a weekend. They claim it's because of God, people are so stupid. They claim it's because of the change.org petition. If anything, Disney probably put somebody up to put in that change.org petition out there. I don't think it's that. Because that was around before that they hadn't done anything. I think the whole thing was because that's when BLM started. Yeah. And they wanted to make this change. But they knew if they said they wanted to make this change, fans would have a fit. Because fans didn't want it to be changed. Because the rumor had been going around a while, and it was always it met with negativity. So that when they do it then, that if you say something bad, then they can say you're a racist hater. Yeah. And then they win. Because no one's allowed to fight them on it. If they fight them on it, they're a bad person. And then Disney can come out looking like, water lily in the whole deal instead of a rose because, oh, look, we did it to be, inclusive. No, you didn't. You were trying to do this for years. You were just trying to avoid the backlash.
They are doing this to sell princess merch. I mean, this is why look, there were discussions. I remember reading there were discussions, Tony Baxter's, that they were talking about whether or not they should even theme a ride based on Song of the South, because at that point, I think they had already had it in the theater like one last time. I think it was like 86. And that was the last time it was in the theater. And they're like, we might not want to do that. And they're like, no, we'll just use the animals. Because they had the animatronics from America Sings. So they had to reuse the animatronics. So if anything, blame America Sings.
Right.
They had all these animal animatronics. They're like, well, we'll just cut out any reference to Uncle Remus, the human characters, whatever. We'll replace Uncle Remus with a frog, and bada bing, bada boom. Nobody will know.
Okay, and even carrying that further, in the next paragraph, talking about the Jungle Cruise. The Jungle Cruise be setting out on a new adventure that better reflect the value and diversity of the world around us. Rather than racist jokes about native war parties, cannibals, and shrunken head traders, the ride will soon tell a story of a diverse group of explorers whose expedition goes off course, which just happens to be Disney Sea, with Alberta, was it Falls or whatever, and Disney Sea, which are trying to spin off into a cinematic universe on Disney+. What a coincidence! But no, it's simply because of representation. That's why we want to change everybody on the poll to have different character names, and that will probably show up in the new cinematic universe they're trying to put together on Disney+.
The Mickey Mouse-eared cupcake is a lie.
Yeah, I mean, this is about
it's about money. It's about money.
It's about IP. It's about shows. Yeah. It's like Red the Pirate was about doing Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Yep. The Jungle Cruise is about putting Alberta Falls in there, changing the story, saying it's for diversity, but it's going to be for the Disney Plus series, which now, because of new guidelines, you have to have more diverse people on screen. I mean, come on. And even then, they're fixing the racist jokes and stereotypes with shrunken heads. No, right, because it's so much better to replace natives with chimpanzees and make Trader Sam, instead of him just sitting there with a joke about the shrunken heads. No, he has now taken over the gift shop, put a sign up that he's literally fencing items out of the gift shop, because that makes it so much better.
Yeah, God.
But good news, the chimpanzees cleared Disney's Animal Kingdom, and no one will make fun of them.
Yeah. They're not. Yeah. So next time a chimp goes to visit Disney World, Disneyland, and they let the chimpanzees in,
Also, I want to point out that she probably worked at Disney or works for Disney currently, or it's probably not even a real person. It's probably some pseudo, Disney account where they found a picture of somebody and stuck it on there.
Who knows? It's hard to tell anymore. There's so much weirdness around Disney PR that nothing would surprise me. So I love this, though. If you're reading this and rolling your eyes because you think Disney's too woke.
No, I think it's because you're lame.
Consider yourself lucky. That means these changes have nothing to do with you and everything to do with people who can't enjoy the parks because of these things.
Well, if you're rolling your eyes because you think Disney's too expensive, consider yourself lucky because you get to still go where all the poor people don't get to go, which anymore is like the middle class and lower. The good news, the rich get to go. If you're writing a pompous article like that, you probably can afford to go to Disney.
If you already love Disney and consider it the most magical place on earth, you should want others to feel that way. Based on some reactions to Disney's recent changes, though, not everyone agrees. When Disney...
Wait, they're still going on?
Yeah, Disney announced they were removing the bride. Oh my God. Well, actually, they got booed when they announced they were removing the bride at D23.
They did.
They got booed.
So I guess all those people at D23 are just, misogynists.
The people that pay thousands of dollars.
As a redhead, I was fine with it either way. I guess it makes me a terrible redhead.
I've been visiting Disney since before I can remember, but, I didn't know that Splash Mountain was based on a Disney movie.
You know what? I've been visiting Disney all my life, too. Does that mean my opinion matters more? I think I'm older than you. Does that mean my opinion matters even more than yours?
And for most of my life, I didn't realize how problematic these things were. Once I began to view them through the lens of those who were made to feel uncomfortable or discriminated against, I couldn't enjoy them either.
But it's okay, because the only people that are gonna be able to see the changes are those that are rich enough to afford it.
Yeah, pretty much. So
what about all the poor white people? They don't get to go either.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. It's I can't even. I saw this. They made sure they disclaimed this one in like 3 or 4 different places. This is an opinion. And then at the bottom, hey guys, this is an opinion. Just so you know, we know it's going to get hits, but it's an opinion.
And I was right. I said, this rings too much like a PR piece for Disney masquerading as an opinion piece. Guess what? This chick works for Pop Sugar.
Actually, I did media events with Disney, and they were like, look, everybody, your pictures got picked up by Pop Sugar. Of course they did.
And Pop Sugar is a mouthpiece for Disney. And guess where this woman works? Pop Sugar. So I do not believe this is an opinion piece in any way. This was a Disney PR puff piece laundered through other sites.
Oh, yeah, it's all Disney. Disney. They're amazing. Disney's amazing. Disney. We built droids. Disney. It's almost all Disney.
Told you, called it.
Yep, there you
Boom,
go.
called it. Told you. And then she wrote for Travel and Leisure and all these places that get Disney access. Come on. I'm like, this reads like a Disney puff piece masquerading as an opinion piece, calling out people. Well, all the changes are great and it's not for you. Well, here, why we got Pop Sugar and this woman on here? Hey, lady, why aren't you covering the fact that Disney wants to give privilege tests to their cast members? They don't pay worth shit. Why they pander and cater to the richy riches, which is what I was going to bring up too. So the newest thing, we already talked about how they're going to probably start charging for like fast pass access. We already talked about how like they have the after hours events that they're charging a lot of money for because they're supposed to be limited, but they put more people in. And we talked about the fact that you're going to be like, if you're in a deluxe hotel, you're going to get special extra hours afterwards and stuff. The newest thing is this. Now they're pushing the VIP tour guides. VIP tour guides, which we mentioned before, are very expensive. They run $425 an hour to $750 an hour with a minimum of 7 hours in one time. You have to book them. So you're talking like almost $3,000 to over $5,000 just to use them for a day. Okay.
Yep.
So just the other day, they made it so that if you have a VIP tour guide, you get to go ride Rise of the Resistance one time and go to the front of the line, not have to have one of the boarding passes. Prior to that, you had to have a boarding pass even if you had a lot of money. So it leveled the playing field and made it fair that if someone comes in there with a lot of money and somebody came in there just scraped by to get in there, they both have the same access and both have the same chance of getting a boarding pass. Well, now, if you're rich, you can buy your way onto the rides. I mean, which you could before, but now it's like the ones that were being blocked, now you can buy your way onto those too. So Disney is catering to these people with money. If you want to talk about being fair, if you want to talk about, diversity and inclusion, then, and all the other crap, you're not making it very inclusive.
No. It's like, this is so ironic because a lot of people that would care about all this.
I'm happy because I fucking called it. Sorry, Mom. I knew it. This read like a blow-by-blow PR thing that we see from Disney when they give you those PR talking points.
Yeah,
that's how it read. And I was like, this is too it's too Disney.
It is very Disney. It's
also, look, was she at some of these events?
Media events, yeah.
Media events?
Yep.
Oh, look, one of their media mouthpieces who work on a blog they own.
She's retweeting Walt Disney Company stuff, more Jungle Cruise. Yeah, she's a PR. Yep. That's all she talks about is
Busted
Disney.
Karen.
Yeah, Tara
Busted.
Sheffy, Disney mouthpiece. Literally, all she talks about is all Disney. Disney.
So her opinion piece on the Insider is just my opinion as an Uber Disney person who works for who gets paid by some of their blogs and goes to their events and kisses their ass.
Yep.
But she didn't even know what Splash Mountain that was part of the Song of the South was based on Song of the South until 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay, so there you go, guys. Somehow that got leaked as an opinion piece on Insider.
Yeah, all this stuff. Here's my list I'm making for all the Taste of Epcot things I want, and all the stuff for the Food and Wine Festival that's starting this week.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Anyway, just a side note. Disney put this speaking of Disney press, they put this press release out about Black Widow making over $200 million, which is awfully odd. They seem to have that ready to go first thing Monday morning.
Well, it's interesting too. On the back end, we're looking at some stuff that is interesting where there's some interesting things with the numbers. Now we're gonna check it more because it could possibly be that they just couldn't tally them till today, but they had this PR thing go out before they tallied the numbers. That was the case, but we're looking into it. Let's just say that.
Yeah, so anyway, now all the mouthpieces are saying, hey, Disney stock is going to jump. CNBC, which always gets the first interviews with the Bobs.
They do.
They're like, all the numbers are going to jump. Disney stock's great buy. You got to buy. Everything's coming up Mickey. It's all coming up Mickey. Because, the theaters are back and the cruise lines are coming back and the theme parks are back and everything's back, baby. Buy stock. Yeah, the end of their fiscal year is creeping up here.
It's October?
Yeah,
September.
Disney's fiscal year.
End of September.
End of September. Disney's fiscal years are not January to December. I think it's
October
through
yes,
the end of September. So that's gonna be creeping up. We're in the final quarter of the year, so they're gonna push.
Right? Yeah, you gotta get the stock up for the end of the year, And then this is after they have those free. They're doing those free trials for Disney Plus on other sites now too. They're trying to push stuff on Ibotta even and stuff like that. Yeah, because we're going into their final quarter now for the fiscal year.
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot more stuff like this. And I think that piece might actually tie into it because they probably are. I mean, look, why would you send a Disney apologist to write a piece like that unless you're starting to feel it somewhere?
Opinion my ass.
Opinion my ass. She's opinion in the ass.
No, I'm just like that. Oh, this is her opinion. Says the
person who makes a living writing puff pieces for Disney.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yep. You're right.
I know. I'm right.
Smell it.
I can.
You can smell it. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up.
Yep.
All right, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.